The Obsidian Room in downtown Chicago was built for secrets. Dim jazz, velvet shadows, and the kind of silence only powerful men could afford. On a crowded Friday night, no one noticed the young waitress weaving through the room except for Ellerin Vance herself, sensing the tension the moment Lorenzo Duca crooked a finger and ordered a drink for the man everyone feared, Jacob Moretti. Under the chandelier's glow, the scotch she carried shimmered wrong, an oily ripple drifting across the surface. Her pulse tightened. She'd seen that separation before. It meant death. She reached Jacob's booth, his underboss watching her with a smile too sharp to be friendly. "Set it down," Lorenzo murmured. Jacob reached for the glass. Ellerin leaned in, voice barely a breath. "Don't drink that. Someone wants you gone." Jacob froze. Lorenzo's smile cracked. And in that single suspended second, the balance of Chicago's underworld shifted. If this moment grabbed you, hit like and subscribe to Canada's Heartfelt Tales. More of the story is coming. The moment Jacob Moretti's fingers froze above the poisoned glass, the Obsidian Room shifted. Music thinned, like the saxophone sensed danger before anyone else. People kept talking, but their voices floated as if they no longer belonged to their bodies. There was only Jacob, Loren Duca's expectant grin, and Ellerin Vance, standing between life and betrayal without fully understanding why her heart was pounding so violently. Jacob's eyes didn't move from the drink, but his voice emerged low and steady. "Who told you to whisper that?" Ellerin didn't step back. "No one." The surface separated. "Something's wrong." Lorenzo laughed too loud, too sharp. "She's nervous. They hire anyone these days." The smile on his face didn't match the tension in his jaw. Jacob noticed, he always noticed. The room tightened like a noose. He lifted the glass again, turning it slightly. Light rippled across the oily sheen. Something inside him shifted. Cold, rigid certainty. Lorenzo wanted him gone. He set the glass down with a soft click. "Lorenzo," he said, "a toast deserves loyalty. You drink first." The underboss froze. That was the moment everything cracked. A gun flashed under the table. Jacob flipped the heavy oak booth with a single explosive movement, dragging Ellerin down with him. Shots punched into the wood, splinters raining like sparks. Screams sliced through the jazz. Patrons scrambled, chairs overturned, glass shattered. The Obsidian Room, once a sanctuary for Chicago's power, became a war zone in seconds. "Kitchen," Ellerin gasped. Jacob grabbed her wrist. "Move." They ran low through chaos as Lorenzo shouted orders. Men rose from their seats, pulling weapons with practiced ease. This wasn't an argument. It was a coup, planned, rehearsed, waiting for Jacob to die quietly in his own booth. But Ellerin had ruined everything. The kitchen doors slammed behind them. Cooks scattered, dropping knives and pans. Jacob aimed at the back exit, but Ellerin pulled him away. "No, don't touch the handle. Someone's waiting." "Where?" "The garbage chute." Jacob blinked. "You're serious? Do you want to live?" He didn't hesitate. "Go." She slid first, tumbling into darkness, then landed in an alley of cold concrete and rotting citrus. Jacob followed, landing with the efficient grace of a man born for survival. Bullets struck the brick above them as the back door burst open. A black SUV skidded into the alley, tires screaming. Dante, Jacob's most loyal enforcer, threw the door open. "Boss, get in." Ellerin stumbled inside, Jacob climbing in after her, still aiming as the SUV peeled away. Only when they were several blocks out did Jacob finally turn to her, his face carved with suspicion and fury. "You saved me," he said. "Why?" Ellerin swallowed. "Because I'm not going to watch someone die when I can stop it." "A waitress," he said, "who recognizes synthetic poison on sight." "I studied chemistry. Before life fell apart." Jacob stared at her long enough to read every twitch in her face. She didn't lie. She didn't flinch. Her fear wasn't the fear of guilt. It was the fear of someone who had spent too long fighting alone. He lowered the gun. "Just slightly." That night, Jacob took her to a hidden penthouse overlooking Lake Michigan. Reinforced glass, steel beams, a fortress disguised as modern luxury. Ellerin didn't feel safe, she felt exposed. Still shaking, still smelling of gunpowder and kitchen grease, she sat across from Jacob as he poured water into a crystal glass. "Drink," he said. "You're in shock." She hesitated. "If I wanted you dead," Jacob added, "you'd never make it to my front door." She drank. Then the real storm began. Jacob placed the poisoned tumbler on the granite counter. Ellerin leaned in, eyes narrowing with the focus she once had in university labs. Her voice steadied as she explained the chelating agent and the delayed reaction system that would have killed him miles from the club. Jacob listened, jaw tightening. "You said synthetic," he said. "Who can make something like this?" "I need to test it," she said. He nodded. "We leave at dawn." At a private underground clinic, Ellerin returned to the person she used to be, the student who saw beauty in chemical structures and possibility in every reaction. Her hands stopped shaking the moment she held lab equipment again. Jacob watched her from the doorway, his presence filling the room even when silent. But when the spectrometer revealed the signature isotope, Ellerin froze. Her throat tightened. "I know this compound," she whispered. Jacob stepped beside her, voice low. "Whose work is it?" "Martin Vane," she said. "My ex-fiance." Jacob's expression sharpened like a blade. "He tried to kill me." "He tried to destroy me first," she said. "Now he wants to finish the job through you." Something dark and focused settled in Jacob's eyes. "Then we hunt him." They drove through Chicago's industrial district, moonlight cutting between abandoned factories and silent warehouses. Dante led the way as they entered a building converted into a hidden lab. Ellerin recognized the smell of sterilized metal and chemical solvents. Martin had been here recently. A notebook lay open. Ellerin's stomach dropped as she read the final line. "Increase potency. Delivery. Aerosol." Jacob grabbed her arm. "We leave. Now." The doors locked. Vents hissed. Yellow gas poured into the room. Dante shoved masks to Jacob and his men. "Only 3 total." "There aren't enough," Ellerin said. Jacob ripped his mask off and forced it onto her. "Breathe," he said. "That's an order." He tried to push it back. "I said breathe." His grip, trembling but unbreakable, held her still until Dante blew open the east wall with C4. They fled through the burning debris, gas curling behind them like a living threat. Then a gunshot echoed. Jacob staggered, clutching his shoulder as blood seeped between his fingers. Lorenzo's silhouette appeared on the rooftop, rifle trained on them. Dante returned fire, pushing the team into retreat, dragging Jacob into another SUV. Inside, Jacob's head sagged into Ellerin's lap. His voice thinned. "If I don't make it." "Don't say that," she snapped. "There's a key in my shoe," he rasped. "If I die, take it and—" "Jacob." Her voice broke for the first time. "You're not dying. Not tonight." The SUV flew through midnight streets toward an abandoned steel foundry, one of Jacob's few remaining safe zones. Lorenzo's men weren't far behind. Inside, Ellerin stitched Jacob's wound with trembling but determined hands. He watched her through pain-clouded eyes. "You shouldn't be here," he whispered. "You'd be dead if I wasn't," she replied. Explosions boomed outside. Lorenzo's voice echoed through the factory floor. "Jacob, give up the girl and maybe we'll leave you breathing." Ellerin looked at the tanks of acetylene and the dust-covered limestone bags. Her mind shifted back into precision. "I can end this," she said. "You're injured," Jacob argued. "You trained me without meaning to," she said. "Now trust me." She rigged a spark trigger from fire alarm wiring. Then, stepping onto the balcony, she called out to the man who had destroyed her past. "Hello, Martin." He emerged wearing a cracked gas mask, smiling like a man convinced he controlled every variable. "You always choose the wrong side," he taunted. But he didn't smell the gas thickening around him. Ellerin stepped back into the office. "Jacob," she said. "Get down." The wires touched. The explosion swallowed the Foundry in a blinding inferno. Metal shrieked. Glass shattered. Shockwaves rolled like thunder. When the smoke cleared, bodies lay scattered. Machines twisted. Flames licked broken beams. Martin was gone, no trace. But Lorenzo crawled from behind a steel pillar, charred, coughing, clutching a pistol. "You ruined everything," he screamed, aiming at Ellerin. A single shot answered. Jacob stood in the doorway, pale, barely upright. His gun raised with steady purpose. "No one harms her," he said. Then Lorenzo fell, silence closing around his body. Later Jacob collapsed, but not before whispering, "Queen." Dante carried him out. Ellerin followed, bloodied, exhausted, but alive. In the weeks that followed, Jacob healed. Ellerin rose, not as a victim, not as a runaway, but as someone who had finally reclaimed her life. And when they discovered Martin's burned footprint trail by the river, Jacob made a quiet promise. He will pay. The underworld already whispered her name. And soon, Martin Vane would learn exactly what kind of woman he had underestimated. And that is where the real reckoning begins. In the quiet days that followed the Foundry fire, the city murmured about shifting power, but Ellerin noticed something different. Her own pulse no longer carried the tremor of someone waiting for the world to collapse. She had stood beside danger, faced the man who tried to erase her future, and walked away stronger than anyone expected, including herself. Jacob saw it too. Not the fear she once carried, but the steadiness that had grown in its place. One evening, as lights from Lake Michigan drifted against the windows of the penthouse, he told her, "You changed more than the outcome. You changed the story." She didn't answer right away. Truth didn't need a long explanation. It lived in the choices she made when no one believed she mattered. Ellerin glanced at the skyline, scarred, restless, but still standing, and understood that survival wasn't the real victory. Claiming her own voice was. Whatever came next, she would never again disappear into someone else's shadow. And far below, sirens echoed across the harbor as a single burnt glove washed onto the rocks, a quiet reminder that unfinished chapters always return. If this journey moved you, tap like, share the story, and help Canada's Heartfelt Tales grow by subscribing. Your support keeps these voices alive.